Hi everyone, it's Narelle here from Simply Stamping with Narelle. I am an independent demonstrator in Brisbane, Australia, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make this cute little box in a card. Isn't this something really different? So you've got this cute little gift box that comes out of the card, and in here you would write your sentiment. Of course you would line it. Now I found with these I've used normal cardstock and it's a little bit flimsy, so our thick basic white cardstock would be perfect for this. It would give the card a little bit more strength because we do cut into it and compromise the strength of the card a little bit. So if you're finding your card is warping or bending and you're not happy with it, then change to the basic white thick cardstock. It'll make all the difference. But this is the card and the little box we're going to be making today. So let's get on with it. Okay, so what we need to make this card with the present in it is a standard card. This is a landscape mode, and this will change depending on what country you're in. So just use your standard greeting card. It'll work the same for US and Australia and wherever you are. So just a standard greeting card. Then you will need a piece of designer series paper that is 6 inches by 6 inches, and this is to make our little present box. Then you'll need a piece of paper or cardstock. This is for your lid, and this is 3 inches by 3 inches. This is for the sentiment on the side. I cut mine at 2.5 by 2.5 inches, but you can quite easily use a punch or something else to cut out your sentiment piece. This is for the strip along the bottom of the card. Now this is the width of the card, so mine is 5 7/8 because that is how big my card is, by 1.25 inches. And this is the piece that goes on top, again the width of the card, and that is 1 inch. So you just have that little bit of border. Okay, now the stamp set I'm using is Merriest Moments. I'm going to use this red ribbon, which is from the Pet range that we had, I think in the last catalogue, and it's returned in this catalogue. Just a really pretty red and white ribbon. And the designer series paper I have used is from the Heartwarming Hugs 12 by 12 inch paper. Alright, so let's get started. First thing you need to do is make the hole that the present's going to go in. So just grab a pencil and a ruler, and you're going to measure in 1 inch from this right hand edge, and then you're going to make a gap that is 2 inches. So you'll see I have my 1 inch mark there, and then I want my 2 inch gap, so I'm going to just pop that there, and then you want to measure down 2 inches. So the easiest way I found to do this was I'm just going to use my grid paper, make sure it's lined up. So one side of our grid paper is inches and the other is centimeters. So if you are working in centimeters and you prefer that, then use the centimeter side. So here I have this at the 8. I'm going to use the 6 mark here. Okay, and that is my 2 inch down mark. And if I keep my ruler lined up with the grid lines, then I should be right to measure in my 1 inch and then across 2 inches. And hopefully I've created a little box. I'll just draw those lines so it's easier to see. It might be a bit hard to see on the red. So this is real red cardstock that I'm using. So that is where my present is going to go. Alright, so I'm just going to grab my trimmer and cut that out. Alright, so where your trimmer blade is, let me just bring my trimmer blade up. This little bit, hopefully you can see that, this little bit that sticks out is where the blade is. So I'm not over the top of this, so I'm hoping I'm going to get that right. I'm lining up my pencil line with the track because that is where the blade is going to cut. And I'm going to go down until this pointer bit is pointing at that pencil line across there. Now you might need a little bit of oomph for this. And like I said, I'm not right over the top of it because my head will get in the way. So hopefully that's cut out okay. Looks like it has. Repeat for this side. Now I'm not moving this because this should be at the right spot. Sorry, I forgot the word I was going to say then. And I should be able to just go straight up. And even if I'm not dead on that line, then at least I know these two end in the same place because I didn't move my blade, and then I could just push it up. Now this is a little bit harder to line up because your pencil line is a little bit further away from the edge, so you have to sort of close one eye and keep everything crossed and hope that it lines up. Alright, so then I'm also hoping that that is lined up. If it's not, it doesn't matter. I can finish it with scissors. I'd rather stop before the end, which I didn't there, and it's not lined up here at the end, but like I'd rather stop and start before this line so that I don't go over the mark. Oh, but you know, sometimes it can't be helped. So if I had aligned everything up, this would just pop out, but I have here a little bit that I have missed on the corner, so I'm just going to get my scissors, trim that off. And I have gone over a little bit on this side, but I'm hoping whoever receives this, oh, I need a new blade, okay. Whoever receives this is not going to care about that. They're just going to go, oh, how cute is this? A little present in a card. Alright, so we're just going to snip this one off. Very carefully, try not to go too far. Pull that out, I can fix up the corner, that's no problems. Just get rid of my fuzzy wuzzy in the corner, which is gone. Alright, now you can use this for something else, embellishments, whatever you want. Don't throw it away. It's too much to throw away. Right, just going to rub out my pencil lines now before I forget. Alright, so that's all we're going to do with that right now. We're going to now grab our piece of designer series paper. And so that you can see what I'm doing, I'm going to draw a grid on it at 2 inches. So there's my 2-inch mark, 2-inch mark. It'll just make it a little bit easier to see where I'm scoring. Now I know this is somewhat of a detailed pattern. I probably should have chosen one that wasn't so detailed. I mean, it's only a check, but it's quite a fine check, so it's not that easy to see on it. Alright, now I'm going to line up my pencil marks and draw a grid. I don't know if this is helping at all in seeing where I'm going to score. Alright, line up these ones. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just score along all those pencil lines I just created. Now you can bring out your Simply Scored tool if you like, but I'm just going to use my trimmer, so because the trimmer scores as well. So there's 1, 2. Now I didn't have to draw those lines, you can just mark it up at the 2, but sometimes if I'm doing more than one thing, as in more than one score line, I tend to forget what my measurements are, so I'd rather draw it and then know that I actually have it right. So now we are going to cut some of these lines. So I'm just going to put a dashed line across there. I'm going to cut that one. I'm going to cut this one, and this one. Oops. Okay, Now just using the scissors, I mean if you wanted to you could get the trimmer out. And I'm only going up to that score line. So I'm cutting along a score line to where it intersects with the next score line. And don't worry, we're going to rub out this pencil line so no one's going to see it. Okay, so now rub out your pencil lines. I mean, it's not easy to see on this paper, but you don't want someone opening your gift and first thing they see is the pencil lines. Now be careful when you're doing this that where you have already cut, you don't go too gung-ho and tear it. Okay, so I think I've rubbed them all out. No, I haven't done this one. Just see those hatches there. The beauty of doing this on pattern paper is that if you don't like one side of your box, you can go, oh, I'm going to use that side. So what you're going to do now is just fold all your score lines. You don't really need to burnish them with like a bone fold or anything. Just folding them with your fingers is enough. It's just to get the paper wanting to cooperate with you. Then all you're going to do is fold in your flaps to create your little box. Okay, so now I'm going to mark where I'm going to put my tape. So I'm going to put my tape along there. No one's going to see that. Okay, along there. Along there. And I would assume along that one. So now I can't get my tape wrong. It's so easy to put in the wrong place. Alright, so just going to grab some tear and tape. And find where I put my squiggly lines. And make sure my tape is not any longer than 2 inches. Gosh, it's hard to see on this pattern where the squiggly lines are. There's a squiggly line there. And a squiggly line there. Okay. So I'm just going to remove the backing on all of my tear and tape. If you're a bit uncertain with making 3D items, then you can do one piece at a time. Right, so I have a piece of tape there. I'm just going to line it up against the bottom and make sure that my sides here meet. It's stuck to my fingernail. Okay, let's not do that. Alright, there's tape on that one. Line it up. Line that one up. And then tuck this last one in. Get in there. Alright, and that will complete our little box, okay? I may have to put glue there as well, okay? It's not perfect, but you get the idea. And so we don't have our flaps happening, we're just going to add some glue. And with this one, You need a little touch on the corners. All right, there's our little box. All right, so now I'm going to grab our piece for the lid. Now this measures 3 by 3. Oh, I've just put glue on that. Okay, so this is going to be scored just below the 1/2 inch mark. So it's actually at 7/16. Now your 16th marks are these little ones. So you've got your full inch marks, your 1/4 inch mark, your 1/2 inch mark. And then these next ones are your 5ths, and these are your 16ths. So if we do 7/16, that 1/2 an inch is 8/16. I know this is maths, but you know. So if that's 8/16, which is a 1/2, then this little one there is going to be your 7/16. So we're going to score that there all the way around. Now this is cardstock, so I'm going to go a little bit firmer with my scoring. Use my left hand, that's probably not going to work out well, but anyway. And the last one. Okay, so we're going to fold all these, and again we're going to make a cut on just one of the score lines on each corner, and that's going to give us a flap to be able to fold up and make our lid. Right, so our lid is going to come together like this. You just fold that flap in and then glue it and go all the way around. Now I'm going to use liquid glue on this. I'm just going to do 2 at a time. Don't want to push my luck, I'll end up with glue everywhere. Alright, I'm just going to hold that in place and hopefully that's lined up. Now what you could do, which makes a nicer lid or a nicer join and a nicer box, is to cut this at an angle. So this edge you would cut down slightly so you don't have a bit showing, and I'll show you what I mean. But I'm not going for pretty here, I'm just doing sugar. This to show you how to assemble it. You can pretty it up, add to it any way you like. This is just the basics. So I'm just creasing that corner together to make a nicer fold. So see how you can see that bit there? If you were to cut that flap at an angle, then it won't be showing. So I'm going to show you here on this one. Just cut a little bit off there. You don't need to do much. See how that's angled now? Oh, and that's way too much glue. Yeah. You've got glue oozing out of there now. See how there it's not showing as prominently? I probably didn't cut enough off that one. And our last flap. With the glue, you just need to hold it for a few seconds just to make sure it's stuck. Okay. Now I'm going to trim these off, I don't like my little flaps sticking down. We'll put that at the back, no one's going to see that bit. Alright, there we go. And fingers crossed, everyone. Oh, I didn't fold that very nice. I need crisper folds on my box. We will have a lid that fits our little box. Look at that. And then we're going to finish decorating our card, because then we're going to slip the box in and we're done. So these two just glue together and then onto the card front. So I've kept it really basic decoration on this, because really the purpose of this video is to show you how to make the box that sits in the card and what you have to do to the card for the box to sit into it. So just keeping the decoration to a minimum. And then this is going to go, which is the nicest. Well, you can have the box left or right, it doesn't matter, you know, whichever way you want it. I'm going to put mine on the left because I've got a bit of yucky on this side here. It's really noticeable where I went past on my cutting. So I'm going to pop this down here, and my box is going to go on the left. Make sure that is straight. See, our little box is going to sit right in there. Now push it down. Now it's not going to be an easy fit. You do have to use a little bit of pressure to get it down there, and also the lid, because you don't want it falling out. Like, you don't want to hand it to someone and then the box falls out. So you want to make sure it's a firm fit. So there's our little box in our card. How cute is that? Right, and I'm just going to decorate a piece to go on here. I've just got a really simple square, and again, you can use whatever you like for this, and you can use a punch or anything like that. I think I'm going to keep a joyful Christmas to you and yours, and this could like be a little gift you give to someone. How cute is that? You could put all sorts of things in that little box. Right, so I'm just decorating now. The basics, the bones, whatever you like to call it, is done. I think I want, is that old olive? I think that's old olive. We want some flowers and some leaves. So let's grab out our little flower. And our little leaf. You can decorate this, you know, as much as you want. It will make a really special gift. Helps me put the holly leaf around the right way. You can see I've been playing with this stamp set for another project. Do you do that? Do you get favourites? And that's all you tend to use for a few days or so? I know I do. Alright, so I just want a simple decoration on there. Now before I glue it onto the card front, I'm just going to add some rhinestones. Sorry, I didn't get out beforehand. Just going to use these gold ones. These are the, I've covered the name up, Gilded Gems. Really pretty. Can never have too much gold at Christmas. Red, gold and green. That's me all over for my Christmas. I love the classic Christmas colours. Okay, now that just gets glued onto the front. probably should do this before you put the box in. Let's take our box out because I need to lay this flat to get this on straight and even. Okay, now we're just going to tie a bow. Okay, I just want a simple bow down there. Now I always use an awl and glue dots for bows, and I roll my little glue dot into a little ball if the bow is little and a normal glue dot is too big for the middle of the bow. I don't like to fuss with glue, liquid glue with ribbon. I always seem to get in a big mess, so I don't tempt fate anymore. It's glue dots to the rescue. Alright, so now I'm going to do a double bow. Hopefully I've cut them long enough. So I've just got 2 equal lengths of ribbon. I'm holding them together. And fingers crossed, no, that wasn't going to work. Here we go. So we just want a little bit bigger bow for the top of our box. Just, oops, don't drop it, but separate them. If you're game, you could probably do more strands, but sometimes I struggle with just 2, so I'm going to leave our tails a little bit longer. And again, glue dot the top. Sorry if that was off camera. I tend to put things close so I can see what I'm doing and then forget that you might not be able to see. Okay. Now of course you can decorate the top of the box as well. So you can do lots of fancy stuff, but this is just, like I said, to show you how to create the box and the card for it to sit in. Okay, there we go. Pop your box back in. Now you'll need to push in the lid to get that down, sitting flush with the card. Make sure it's even. And there we have our little box. Oh, my lid's popped up. Our little box in a card. Perfect for Christmas gift giving. Just something a little bit different and a little bit special. And people will think you're so, so clever. If you give this a go, please, I'd love to know about it and what you thought of my instructions. And I'd love you to email me pictures of what you created, Narelle at simplystampingwithnarelle.com. Thank you for dropping by. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.